Make a Halloween colored chunky knit blanket using Mainstays Chenille chunky yarn with 8 skeins for a large throw using 3 orange, 3 black, and 2 ivory. This orange is a new color out at Walmart. Take the unraveled yarn and place the skein on the right. Take the loose strand and wrap around to make a slip knot, which is your starting loop. You'll leave a tail. Take your loop in your left hand and pull through with your thumb. Then, using your right hand to pull over for your first chain foundation loop. Continue knitting, making 30 loops in a pretzel-like or braided strand across. You want your chain foundation loose enough where your fingers can fit through. The end loop on the chain foundation faces up. Make sure to count 30 loops with each bump, then turn it over. Move your working yarn to the left. Pull the yarn to tighten your end loop, as it will be the edge on the border and help square off the blanket. Today we're taking our finger through the top loop instead of the middle bump to try and see how this border turns out. I gauge a finger in each loop. Continue knitting and pulling through each loop all the way across the chain foundation until you get to the left slip knot that you made. Then move your working yarn over to the right. Skip the first loop on the edge, as that will be your border, and bring the working yarn behind and pull through the second loop and continue knitting across that row. At the end of that row, take the bottom loop and pull the working yarn down and through and up to the next row. You'll move your working yarn again to the left and behind the end loop and continue pulling through to the next loop and knit down the row. Always make sure your loops are consistent. Coming to the end of that row, take the lower loop and pull the working yarn down and through and up to make the side border loop. You can adjust the loop size if it's too big. Then you'll continue knitting down to the next row. The pattern on the back is different than the front. You'll continue knitting back and forth down each row until you have finished using the entire skein. I'm coming to the end of my skein on the right side. This is where I'm going to change colors. I have about a blanket length strand left of the skein. Taking the black yarn, you'll cut the black end off and attach it behind the end loop. You'll cut the orange yarn at the base and use a lighter to fuse the ends together. Mash it together and let it cool. Then pull in and knit that loop, and you'll have a new color for the next row. Continue knitting the black yarn down each row until the skein is used and ready for the ivory yarn. You'll cut and fuse the yarn as you did with the black one. Once it cools, you can pull it apart for a stress test. Then it's ready for knitting the new color down each row. This blanket pattern is fairly easy, as you'll use the entire skein until you're ready for the next color. You can see how we're building on the blanket, knitting row by row. As the blanket gets bigger, I found it easier just to roll it over as I knit. You need about 5 working yarn blanket length strands left. The last row, you'll gauge it with 2 loops. At the end, take the left loop on the edge and the second loop, and you'll make a top border, bringing the working yarn around on the right through the loop and pull it through over to the top next loop, and continue in this pattern all the way across to the end. The right end loop and lower loop, you'll pull the working yarn up and through and make a knot. Cut off the excess and leave about 6 inches and weave the tail through the top chain border. Your bottom right tail needs to be braided in and fused to the blanket to finish it off. These chunky knit blankets are best washed cold on gentle and air dried. This was a 68 by 44 inch blanket that took me about 4 to 5 hours to make. Your October nights are ready for this cozy chunky knit blanket. It's even kid approved. Hey, come down my lane at CobbleCreeklLane for more DIYs, home decor, and crafts.